You don't always know who's listening, but I promise you, somebody's always hearing what you're saying. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the wonderful privilege of working with nearly 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But what I'm really here to do is to help you be clear enough, be consistent enough to connect to the people that you're meant to connect with. Clarity is powerful. We need outside help to get our clarity. We can have our heart in the right place. We can schedule our schedules so that we can show up on time. Okay. We can set aside time to do the things that are important. Clarity is something that comes through repetition, through doing it. And it also often we need somebody to read that label on the jar that we're inside of. We need somebody to help us see and really develop and that clarity that we need. We need to talk. We need to speak it out. We need to speak it to, yes, that mentor person, that person that is helping us find our clarity and grow and be the person that we are. But we also need our ears to hear our mouth say the thing. We need to speak. You never know who's listening except for one person, and that's your ears. You see, and this came to me, while I was actually live last week. Um, you know, we tend to do something specific for a specific amount of time. And it doesn't matter whether you go live 5 seconds or, you were doing 5 hour soliloquies. Okay. It doesn't matter whether you've written one book or 100+ books like John Maxwell has. It's about doing it constantly and consistently. When we super different today, well, yes, uh, allergies. I've got just a little bit of a sore throat from the travel, and I have a completely different mic. So yeah, I'm like totally a completely different Steve today. This is Steve's clone, coming to you today live from McLean, Virginia, in the uh, Ritz Carlton Tyson's Corner. You can see my room back here behind me. Um, I didn't even think about it until just now, but you can see the suitcase and maybe a tiny bit of the bed unmade. Um, but it doesn't look too bad back there, I guess. So we'll just give me all kinds of grace and stuff for what I'm doing. But yes, there is definitely some things. I don't need anything, thank you. And just then, somebody came to the door. I don't know what it is. Um, Probably the housekeeper person again. They're really like almost militant about the housekeeping. I've this would if this was a housekeeper, this would literally be the third time they've checked with me today. Um, the concept of saying, "Hey, yeah, I don't need anything yet," I think it hurts our feelings. Anyway, that's good too. So, I just want to spend a few minutes with you. And as you can tell, my voice is a little trashed between the travel and everything. I'm a little bit down. Drinking the water, got some vitamin C sitting right over there. I'll be good. But I did have to, needed to, want to come here and spend a few minutes with you because I want to encourage you to say the thing because you never, ever know who's listening, but you do always know your ears are hearing it. And the thing I want to encourage you about more than anything today is I want to really truly encourage you. What are all the things your ears are hearing you say? Not just, we go live, or is it too fancy for that? Oh, I do have the door hanger and I should have put it out. And you're totally right. I just didn't. No reasons. I just literally I can see it from right here, and I just didn't. Anyway, I want you to really be thinking about. I want you to be mindful today about all the words your ears are hearing you say. There's that specific time that we go live. You know what I'm saying? We go live and we say that powerful thing, that thing that we're meant to say. And then we go out and we live our lives. You know, it's kind of like, a lot of reasons why a lot of people don't like people in church is because, people go to church on Sunday and they act one kind of way and then they act like the devil the rest of the time, right? I'd much rather see you be just kind of not so churchy and just be kind of cool to be around versus somebody who is so black and white, up and down, so different. Just be you. Let your ears hear the real you. We need that. We absolutely positively need that. And we need to be mindful. So I'm encouraging you today. Like I said, I'm going to go a little shorter than normal. I don't know whether I'll make it under the 10-minute mark just because I'm still wordy, even when I'm talking about being short. But, I want to encourage you to literally keep track of. And I'm talking about open up, like even just an email where you can take notes. You don't have to send it to anybody. Open up a Word document. I've got a little notepad over here. I just can't quite reach it. Have a pen and paper and just make a note of the things you're saying. And like literally for the next couple of days, let's intentionally be noting these are the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay, we'll deal with thoughts another time, and I'm not going to make you track every thought that you have. But I want you to be really mindful of and actually take note of. You don't have to write down the whole thing you wrote. You can just say, I was talking about groceries. Okay. There's going to be a lot of things that come out of your mouth that are mundane and just, living life. I told the person at the door that I don't need room service. But I want you to be mindful of that because I want you to also see what are the things you're saying to yourself? What are the words that your ears are hearing? Now, yes, we need to understand that whether we're on a Zoom call, on, using StreamYard and going out to several social medias like I'm doing right now, whether we're in front of a group of people, we're one on one with somebody, we're talking to our kids, whatever that might be, we need to understand that people are listening. And I think we get that for the most part when we think about others. Be careful of, what you say, and I just, totally gotta, grab that. Be careful of what you say shouldn't be circumstantial. If there are things that you're talking about that you shouldn't be saying in certain company, then you probably shouldn't be saying them. Somebody needed to hear that. It may be 10 years in the future when you listen to the replay of this that you needed to hear that. We need to be mindful of the words that are coming out of my mouth so that, yes, we can most definitely, begin to be specific about the things we're saying in the world and make the impact on the people that we're meant to make the impact on. But we need to also do it because we need to be mindful of what we're putting into our own brain. And a lot of the crap that comes out of our head, even like when I use the word crap, you've noticed if you've been watching for the last several months that I'm trying harder to not swear intentionally because I was hearing myself, and there are still sometimes when, as I said, as I even told the story about, the conversation I had with my dad, and he was like, well, why did you have to use that word? I'm like, well, because that's what it was. And there are times when that expletive is absolutely what you mean. And so I'm not one of those, blah, 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 holy, righteous, holy roller kind of people. If that's the best descriptive word, use that word. But be articulate, be imaginative, be creative with your verbiage. Not just have a specific word that we lazily say. And the reason why isn't because of the other person's ears that are hearing it, it's because of your ears hearing it. You know, we very much live in a situation in our own head where it's garbage in, garbage out. And we dump far too much garbage into our own ears. Some of that comes from TV and radio and those kind of things, but most of it really just comes from the things that we allow our ears to hear. And most of those, the crap that comes out of our own mouth. And I know that's a little harsh, and I don't mean it to be that way at all. Um, but yeah, it's worth defining what's worth saying. It's worth defining ourselves by saying the things, even the things that aren't currently physically manifested in your existence. If you thought about the sales you're going to make, the impact you're going to make, the money you're going to have, the cool places you're going to travel to, if you begin to think of all of those things and speak of those things like a post-dated check, or like probably even a better word of it is like when you do a money transfer. You know, most of the time these days we're used to Zelle or instant transfer in PayPal, or most wire transfers even are relatively instant domestically. But you know, it wasn't that long ago that, and you can still do it through PayPal. You know, I mean, they've got an option where instead of getting your money immediately for free, you can wait 3 days to have your money. And I don't know about you, but you know, most of us are in a place where it's like, well, yeah, but I don't have 3 days to wait, so I'll pay you your percentage, and they know that. That's why those companies get that for us. But I want you to begin to think of all those things and speak of them as though they already exist. If you were to have somebody that sent you the, you know, the wire information, they're like, here's the screenshot of the wire transfer that's been done on my side, and they lived overseas, which means that it may be 48 to 72 hours before that money gets in your account. Or depending on how your credit card processor works, you know, some of them still have where, you know, it doesn't get into your bank account the next day. It may be, you know, a couple of days later. But, you know, in other words, I'm not talking about promises of money, but I'm talking about money that's actually been paid for a service that they do for you. Or, you know, your mom, you know, some of you, you know, your mom still works in checking accounts, right? You know, and your mom can say to you, I sent you a check. It should be there. You know, and the mail's going to take 2, 3, 5 days, whatever. You know, it depends. I mean, if you live in Canada, in certain parts of Canada, they had a mail carrier strike, so it could be several months before that check gets there. And I talked to some of my friends that live up in that area about that, and it's like, yeah, but the thing about it is that you know we know that money's coming, we know it's there, and we live in a space of the knowing of it rather than, you know, well, what if the mail never gets delivered again? What if, you know? And I think if we begin to speak in those kind of terms, we begin to talk from that space, from the things that we know are going to be, and talk about them as though they already are. Because again, your ears, those two things on the side of your head, need to really, really, truly need you. They need to hear you saying, I am abundant. I am making a difference. I am a world changer. I am making an impact in the world. Your ears need to hear that. Because you may never know who's listening. And when you do a live like this, you never know who 5 minutes or 5 years from now is going to also hear what you have to say. And thank you, all of those of you that are watching this on the replay. I appreciate you listening to it, however many years later this is. But we also know that our ears are in the room right now, and they're hearing what's coming out of our mouth. And we need to intentionally practice saying the things that we want to and need to be hearing. right? So I encourage you to do that today. Make some notes of it. Just begin to become mindful of the things that you're saying and the words that your ears are hearing, and allow yourself to not only be focused on that person, that somebody that's hearing what you have to say, absolutely them, and do say the thing because somebody is waiting on you, but also say the thing because the somebody that's waiting on you often is you. Okay? And then come and join us in the Visibility Amplifier community. Visibilityamplifier.com will get you there. I'm here for you. I appreciate you more than I can possibly express. I apologize if my voice is a little off and that I'm still a little worn from the trip, I mean, between all the different delays that we had and stuff and just in general traveling, it takes its toll on you. But I'm doing good and I'm here for you. And we'll be live every day, even with the event starting tomorrow. And we may do just 5 or 10 second clips the next few days, and that's okay too. Maybe in some ways, maybe that's even better. And I'll be coming to you and sharing with you the room and doing some posts and stuff. And you can see my room here, and I'll show you the event space as well. Be encouraged to know that good things are happening. Tree landscapers and repairers, all the things going on today. It's going to be a great day. It is. I believe in you. You've got this. You're amazingly, incredibly cool. And I'm so proud of you for all that you do in this world. I hope that you really are happy, safe, warm, and loved, that you know how to get that. My voice came back as you went. Okay, good. And I really, really hope that until we're together again next time, we'll be back on again tomorrow. But whatever time frame it is, whenever you get to hear it, even if you have to miss tomorrow, know that I'm in your world. I'm here for you. I appreciate you. And then until we're together again next time, I really truly want you to have a great week.